And now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
This is the RBLR Race Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Doblow, and my co-host, Pat Davenport. Pat, good to see you again, sir. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's good to see you. It's good to be back. But I do got to ask a difficult and troubling question, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, we'll start it off strong.
Is it me? Am I the problem? Because it feels like, okay, so let me illustrate my RBLR podcasting career so far.
Go ahead.
I joined in around, I think it was just after the All-Star break in the 2023 season as a full-time host. We remember how good the Rays' first half of 2023 was. Right? They went 13-0. They seemed to have a stranglehold on the division. And then since I joined, it was about 2 weeks after I joined the pod, the Wander Franco incident occurred.
Yeah.
And then the Rays ended up falling short of the division and getting bounced by the Texas Rangers in the playoffs. And then 2024 was a season where we couldn't quite get out of first gear, and it was our first year without playoffs since 2018. And then the Rays struggled to get out of first gear most of this season. And then the moment I take a 2-week hiatus from the podcast, they go 10-2 and are now on a mad win streak. Is it me?
See, it would be tempting to go that route. But I think one of our topics in just a minute here is a more meaningful correlation in the change there. And so I think you're off the hook for now. I think Josh Lowe's got you. I think Josh Lowe's got you taken care of. So don't worry about that. And we're going to have y'all taken care of. Everybody here who's joining us, we appreciate you guys. A little pregame show. Huge, stacked, massive show today. We got a lot to talk about. We missed you guys last week. We've got so much to discuss. We've got guys coming, guys going. We've got injury updates. We've got breakouts. We've got getting out of first gear and really locking in offensively and with the pitching staff. It's been a great 2 weeks in Rays baseball, and we hope to wrap up this sort of domination of the Houston Astros that it's been over the last 2 weeks with winning a 4-game set today, which would be awesome, especially doing it in Houston would be awesome. So we hope that you are ready for this show. If you are, do us a huge favor and drop us a like wherever you're watching us on. And when you've got stuff to say it over on YouTube in the comments section. Love to hear from you guys because there's going to be a lot to discuss today. So I think we want to start today off. There's a lot of really good stuff to talk about today, but I do think we need to sort of start it off on a somber note and say goodbye to Ben Rortvedt, who was a unexpected addition at the beginning of 2024, coming over for the Yankees, has had some nice moments in his Rays tenure. But as he himself said when he doing his press conference after his last game in a Rays uniform, just wasn't getting it done. And so the Rays parted ways with Ben Rortvedt, traded for Matt Thaiss from the Chicago White Sox, sending over Drew Baker in the trade, an outfielder for the Rays minor league system, to be the new backup catcher, backing up Danny Jansen. What were your thoughts around that whole transaction?
I think it was a interesting move. It was one that caught me a little by surprise. I'm not going to lie. I thought Rort and Jansen were going to be the tandem for as long as it was going to take until either Driscoll or Keegan or someone in the minors was ready. I didn't think we were going to look outside the org for another catcher. So I guess it's kind of a quite aggressive move, I suppose, even though it is only for a backup catcher. They've said, listen, this is not good enough. We need to make a change right now. So I really like that the Rays see what they have and they've decided this isn't good enough. Let's go make that change right now. And we talked a lot about catchers and the Rays, and it's never been able to quite work since Mike Zunino.
Yeah,
I feel like Mike Zunino has been the only solid catcher that's been productive enough for a really good winning team in recent memory. And Rod got off to a good start with the Rays last year when he first came over. I thought he was really good. But since then, he's not been good enough, and his framing in particular has let him down. Rott was a bit of a one-trick pony defensively, and that was that he had a good arm, could throw runners out quite easily. He was quite good at preventing the running game. He's not even been good at that this year. And then with that, we always kind of knew he wasn't great. At least he was able to kind of put a lot of balls into play last year. Quite high contact rates, even if he had really low power. This year, it's been neither contact nor power. So if he's not adding much value defensively, not adding much value offensively, you could probably do better elsewhere. And Matt Tice is a guy that could potentially do that, at least raising the floor, if not the ceiling of catcher production for the Rays. I mean, Rott finishes his 2025 with the Rays with a minus 0.6 FWAR, which is bad, very bad. What are your views on, I guess, Rott and Matt Tice?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a move that the Rays made because they look at the quality of this roster as it's currently constructed and see the potential there, and didn't feel like Ben Rortvedt was living up to the standard of the rest of the roster, which is a really interesting, in my opinion, really interesting move because they made it during a win streak, which is not, I mean, a lot of times these deals are sort of happening for a while. So it could have been that they made this decision like a couple of weeks ago and it's just now coming to fruition. That's possible. We don't know how long this took. I think that when we just look at the two of them as players, it's not a massive difference. You know, you would hope, and based on his profile, Thace is going to be able to provide a little bit better defense with a little bit less arm, kind of like you were talking about. And Roart, you know, wasn't really providing much of anything defensively, especially behind the plate. You know, actually framing pitches was pretty terrible at that. And when a team that's built on pitching, it's really hard to justify that long term. And I think, you know, that was kind of the thing that really did him in, is that at the end of the day, when you focus so much on having good pitching for your team and your pitchers are being negatively affected by your performance behind the plate, it's going to be hard to keep you on the roster. And I think you make a really good point that, you know, catcher for the Rays has just been tough. You know, when you look at the last, 5 or 6, 7 years of Rays catchers, there's only one or two that over their entire career put up more than 2 F4 with the Rays. And those only two guys that have put over 2 F4 with their career with the Rays over the last 7 years are Wilson Ramos and Mike Zunino. That's it. And Ramos did that in half a season. So as the rest of the guys who got multiple seasons, like not making it happen outside of Zunino. So, and you know, in a way that's kind of shows what the organizational philosophy of the Rays has been, is we really just want someone who's going to play good defense. And why I think we both were sort of confused about the catcher position to start the year, because it didn't really seem like that guy was on the roster, because neither one of the two guys that they started with were elite defensively. So, and we know we have guys like Piper, Keegan, other guys down in AAA and below that, you know, are eventually going to make their way up. Driscoll, that, you know, will probably take these spots eventually. And so it's a bit of a weird position. I agree with you that I like the addition, you know, kind of on its face. I like that Thace puts up good at bats. With the way this offense is humming right now, the best thing you can do is just not kill the momentum. If nothing else, just take a long at bat, make a pitcher work. Just don't, you know, swing at the first pitch or strike out or ground into a double play. Try to, you know, at least soak up a couple of pitches, which is what he can do. So I think he's a good addition. But it was the timing of it caught me off guard.
Yeah. Aggressive is the way to put it. Aggressive move. But I like the aggressiveness of it. The only thing I will say about Tice is, like, he doesn't track as a much better framer than Rott or Jansen. He currently tracks as kind of similar. He's been good since joining the Rays at framing. But that's only in 1-2 games. So,
well, and do you think that it's something where the Rays looked at what he just looked at him and watched the tape on him and said, we can fix him? We think that he has the ability. He's just not being coached properly, which, considering where he was previously, it wouldn't shock me if that was their evaluation. They thought they could turn him around a little bit, bring him over. That's kind of what I thought, the move was we think he's got some requisite ability and we can bring him in a backup role and get more out of him than Chicago is.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what they must do. They must have seen something to go get him. Mind you, my favorite thing about Matt Tice is that he's really selective at the play, really selective. And that's been since he's joined the league. He's got one of the lowest chase rates in all of baseball, therefore draws a lot of walks. So while his bat isn't particularly good, it's a step up from Rod, and the amount of walks that he'll be able to generate. It's like Taylor Walls. When Taylor Walls is doing well, he will get on base, even if he's not swinging the bat so well. He'll still grind you in at bat, and he'll still get on base, which Rod wasn't doing a ton of. In his tenure. So,
at 20% walk, very small sample, 20% walk rate for him so far this season. On base percentage approaching 400, 383 on base percentage for him. Again, less than 150 plate appearances for him. So definitely small sample, but not nothing either. So it's very clear that that's where his value is. And when you look at the rest of this lineup, we're going to get into it, the how well they've been playing. Getting a guy that could just sort of get on base, that could be a run with the way that some of the rest of this team is playing right now. Before we get to just kind of diving into how well the team's been playing in the win streak and all that great stuff, we do have to talk about probably the most controversial thing maybe that's happened this season for the Rays. Maybe. Chandler Simpson sent down. In concert with Jake Mangum returning from the IL, being brought back onto the major league roster. How did you like it, dislike it?
Okay. I think we can look at this in two ways.
Okay.
So the rationale of why they did it is clear. Okay, let me say I am fully understanding of why they did it.
Yeah.
Which is because they were unsatisfied with Chandler Simpson's defense, where they originally were trying him in center. They were not satisfied with how that was going, and you could tell because he very rarely was in center field. In the past couple of weeks, they put him in a corner, mostly left field. And they're still not happy with his defense in left. And it's true, his defense is not great. He's a guy that is relatively new to the outfield when compared to most outfielders. He came up as an infielder and only transitioned in the past year or two to an outfield. So he's still learning the position. They want him to go get more reps in the field. They think he is hurting the team more than he is helping it with his electric speed, with how badly he has been on defense and his kind of league average offense. He's got a 99 WRC plus. I disagree with the move. I'm going to say it. I disagree with the move.
All right.
The Rays have already looked great because Jake Mangum was awesome yesterday.
Yeah. He
was awesome. Hit his first career Major League home run. Amazing. Love that. And I like Jake Mangum, right? He's Ichiro. I'm going to say it. Jake Mangum's Ichiro. Okay? But I think Chandler Simpson provides something that no other player in baseball can provide. And that is, I think even 80 grade speed doesn't do it justice. It's 90 grade speed. And I think maybe the reason it was so controversial he got sent down was the day before, the game before, he did that amazing thing where he got walked, stole second, stole third, scored on a wild pitch.
Yeah.
Didn't have to put the bat on the ball once, and he generated a run without even touching the ball with his bat.
Yep.
Only Chandler Simpson can do that. And again, he doesn't need to hit the ball particularly well. In fact, it's better when he doesn't hit the ball well.
Yeah.
You'd rather he hit the ball soft on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, I think his defense was bad, and his WAR is 0. He's got 0 WAR. So he's replacement level, according to WAR. But I don't think WAR is calibrated to what Chandler Simpson brings or does. I think he breaks the mold of what baseball players can do, and therefore WAR doesn't know how to calculate him yet.
Yeah.
Because he will not hit a home run. I will bet $100 he will not hit a home run this year.
I think if he really got into one to the short porch and the wind helped a little bit, because he's hit one past like 320 before. He hit one the other day that was like over 320 distance.
He has hit 2 home runs. No, I lie. He has hit 1 home run in his professional career. It was inside the park. Yeah,
it was a home run.
Yeah. So he will not hit a home run. Wall will hate that. His ISO will be low. His OPS will be low because his OPS will be his own on-base percentage.
Yeah, it will be his on-base plus his average, pretty much.
Yeah, like his on-base plus like 0.2.
Yeah.
And again, Wall will hate that. His WRC plus will never be particularly good. But he can, again, WRC plus does not account for you drawing a walk, steal, get home. WRC plus doesn't know what to do with that. Like your base running value is going to be through the roof, sure. But WAR doesn't put tons of emphasis onto that compared to your WRC plus. So I think WAR is not the story with Chandler Simpson. And I think the way he disrupts the game and the way that he changes everything in baseball, like he breaks baseball, I think that's so valuable. But I also think he needs to be able to play competent defense. So I get needing regular reps. But I don't know. What do you think about the move?
So here's some context for how good Chandler Simpson was while he was up. His base running WAR, it's just base running, and it's basically base running above average is how it's calculated on Fangraphs. They have when they put WAR together, they use base running above average, offense above average, defense above average goes into the calculation for wins above replacement on Fangraphs, right? Since he came up, his base running above average was the best in all of Major League Baseball, and it was comfortably led all of Major League Baseball in stolen bases. He is elite difference maker on the base paths. His defense above replacement was the 6th worst in Major League Baseball since coming up at negative 5.2 since coming up, which all that averages out to him being a replacement level player. So I think you are correct to say that maybe like that WAR number maybe doesn't fully capture how valuable he is. But I think that this experience here is actually one that we've had before. And you may not think about it immediately, but I can think of a player who the conversations we're having it's a little bit more superlative because Chandler is better at what he does maybe than what this other player does at his best. But it's a similar conversation. It's the Jonathan Aranda conversation all over again, where Jonathan Aranda is hitting the cover off the baseball. He's providing so much value offensively in Durham and in the minors. And we say he's got to get a shot at the majors, but he could not play defense. He was a liability in an infield position, which is, the outfield, you even have to be better because you're going to get more run probably than like second base or first base. You can kind of hide somebody there. You can sort of hide somebody in left field, but if you watch these games over the past couple of weeks, there's been some pretty important miscues he's made over the past. He made some bad, either with a bad read or a mistimed jump or whatever. And it's not to say that he can't eventually become good. But I think when you look at what Jonathan Aranda has done, where he has put in the work at the minors and now at the majors to be average defensively or maybe even slightly above average defensively. He's made some nice plays this year and allows the plus tool that he has, which, you could argue has 2 with hit and power and on, whatever. He's got that plus skill set. It's allowing that to play out. Whereas Chandler is in sort of the maybe a year ago Jonathan Aranda scenario where you could see the value, and it's maybe even a little above what Jonathan Aranda has done. I think that would be a fair argument to make. But the defense is I would argue even worse because it's at a position where it can really affect a game, right? If a infielder misplays a ball, it's you may get an extra base hit out of it. If an outfielder misplays a ball, it's an extra base hit almost all the time, and sometimes more, right? So that it's really important to have at least average defense in the outfield, right? And so I think the reality is with Chandler, you want him playing every single day so he gets better in the outfield. And frankly, when he's up and with the Rays, you want to play him every day because of his value offensively on the base paths. But when he is a top 6 worst defender in all of Major League Baseball, it's really hard to play him every day because you are saying we are going to put a liability out there. And the other guys that, by the way, the other guys that were kind of in there are the Kyle Schwarbers, George Springers, the guys that we know are elite offensively for more than just baseball.
Okay.
So
counterpoint.
Go ahead.
Counterpoint. Christopher Morel can't play defense.
Yes, but we also didn't trade Isak Paredes for Chandler Simpson.
Right, and then that's where, and also I don't think Morel has options. Correct. So. And you don't really want to DFA him because that means you fully give up. Meanwhile, with Simpson, you're just like you get him to go develop, and that's the sucky side, right? Where if you really thought about it, you might go maybe you get Morale down to work on some defense as well, and it becomes a bit of a business move as well as a baseball.
Yeah. But it's there's been some comments about maybe they're manipulating his service time a little bit with Chandler. I don't think that that's really playing into it. I mean, maybe like somewhere in the back of Eric Neander's mind, he's aware of that. But like, I think if they needed Chandler to come back up, there would not even be a hesitation. Like if tomorrow Meisner goes out there and turns his ankle, as soon as Chandler can come back up, he'll be back up, and he won't give it a second thought. Right.
Right. I think he's only like 7 at-bats away from clearing the rookie threshold.
Right.
So, like, if he comes up again this season, that's his rookie season.
Yeah. Right.
Right. I mean, if he played better defense, he would have one of the funkier Rookie of the Year cases.
Yeah, it would be very interesting. And I mean, again, if for some reason, if let's say everybody stays healthy for the rest of the year, and there's not a need for him to come back up because the team's playing well enough, and he stays and works on defense all year, he's gonna have he will be like high on the odds lists for Rookie of the Year because the question will be, can he scare the all-time steals record? Can he be the first person in a long time to scare that record if he plays every day? And right. I don't know.
Can someone win Rookie of the Year without hitting any home runs?
Right. Yeah.
Can a hitter win Rookie of the Year with 0 home runs and then, like, at best 700 OPS?
Yeah, but with but maybe like more runs scored, and he's generating those
and 100 steals.
Yeah, and 100 steals. So we don't know, but it'll be very fun. And again, I think the thing that's so important about this conversation is that it's not like we didn't trade Chandler Simpson to the
he'll be back
to the Nationals. Yeah. He's just a couple 100 miles away in Durham, and he could be back up whenever they need him. So it's not a goodbye forever. It's a goodbye until they're ready for him to. He's proved himself on defense, and I think it's the benefit is you can look at him, and I'm sure this is exactly what Cash Neander said. It's we know what you can do. You've proven yourself. Go work on your defense, and we'll see you. And as soon as you're ready, you'll be back up here because we know what kind of value you have. So I think for him, that can give him some real direct purpose for these next 2 or 3 months, if it's that, down in Durham, to really lock in on his defense, lock in on his routes, lock in on his pre-pitch reads, all that kind of stuff, to really get to the next level. It's a shame, it was funny. I was at the game last Sunday, and I think from afar I saw KK walking around because he's helping to coach the outfielders for the Blue Jays. And it really made me think, man, wouldn't it be nice for Chandler to be able to go to Durham and have Kevin Kiermaier coaching him every day and training him That, I mean, man, that would
the Judas Kevin Kiermaier.
I know.
And how many years here?
Tough.
He spent how many years here? He spends
So
1.5 a year and a minute in Toronto, and he's suddenly like, they're my favorite team. Screw you, Kevin Kiermaier.
Oh boy,
he is such a homer for the Blue Jays after spending 10 years at one of their biggest rivals.
I don't know if it's
you
because...
and Zach Eflin are on my list.
Oh man, I don't know if it's because maybe he got mad that the Rays just didn't think he was worth keeping after all that time, and he wanted to retire Ray, and then they were like, nope, see ya, and he got mad. I mean, I might be mad about that too, but I don't know.
Yeah, but can we talk about someone that did get traded and is gonna return to the Rays and will be an advocate for the Rays going forward because he's retiring officially this week as a Ray, Evan Longoria.
Yes.
You don't see him, working for other teams.
You don't see him working for other teams. And I don't know, maybe the Rays just haven't reached out to him. It's hard for me to believe that they didn't reach out to him when he retired to see if he wanted to come coach for them. It's hard for me to believe that. But maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
From everything he said on social media, he was obsessed with the Blue Jays.
It's very. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like
you're not just a trader to the Rays. You're a trader to the United States of America.
I'm just.
Is that too much?
I'm very much in a. I do not see it. I pretend I do not see it mode with Kevin Kiermaier. I just try not to think about it because he is one of my favorite players of all time. In a Rays uniform. So it's hard for me to think about that. One thing that's not hard for me to think about really ever is when I need a fashion upgrade. It's a very simple thought process in my mind because I just know to go to shop.RBLRsports.com where all the best merchandise inspired by your favorite Tampa Bay sports teams, Rowdies, Bucks, Lightning, Rays, Sun, is all there for you at shop.RBLRsports.com. You can use promo code FLAPPY for 10% off your entire order. It's the best place to be for the best merch, for the best sports teams in the best city. Shop.RBLRsports.com, promo code FLAPPY, FLAPPY for 10% off.
It's true. I mean, if you want to go on an extended run of look and fly, that's where you got to go. Speaking of extended runs, look and fly, and hitting big flies. That is, our Tampa Bay Rays have been on an absolute heater lately, and I guess we got to break that down. I don't think there's too many games to break them down game by game, but we got to talk about Rays good now? Question mark.
Rays good now, and the thing that I want to there's a couple of angles I want to attack this at as we're talking about how good they've been over the last week, 2 weeks. Obviously, the 6-game winning streak, starting with the last 2 games of the Astros series, through the sweep of the Blue Jays, into the beginning of the Twins series, massive. And I think one of the things that's been so cool over this last couple of weeks of excellence is who they've done it against. You just kind of heard me start to mention it. Astros, Blue Jays, who have good pitching, Twins, Astros again. All teams except for the Blue Jays that were in the playoff hunt or in an actual playoff position when we played them, and the Astros, who have kind of been a boogeyman for a lot of the American League, and the Rays included in previous years, are now have a chance to beat them 2 series in a row, including a 4-game series today. See how that goes. Not going to predict that, but it would, you have a chance to really sort of, assert some dominance over a team that has been a real, a real thorn in the Rays side. So really, really happy to see how well the team has played and against the top level of competition they've done it against. Yeah,
absolutely huge. All of these teams are legit and are legit pitching teams, pitching-focused teams, which is really, really what's exciting about this. I mean, the pitching has been pretty much just as good as ever. I don't think it might have even got a little bit better. Because even, the 2 games we've lost in this stretch, we gave up 4 runs in one, we gave up 2 runs in another.
Yep.
And in fact, on that winning stretch, we have only given up above 3 runs 3 times. Every other game, it's been either 2 or 1 or 0 runs given up.
Yep.
Which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So the pitching has been really, really good. Like, I don't think you could point to anyone who's having a bad time of it right now in the pitching staff, which is really, really good. And then, the offense. And it's not just been like doing enough, because like that's what it's been with the Rays for a long time. Can they do enough to back up their good pitching? They have been mauling teams, absolutely mauling teams. 13-0 against the Jays, 7-2 against the Twins, 13-3 against the Astros, 16-3 against the Astros, 8 runs on a game that Hunter Brown started, who was considered an AL Cy Young candidate.
Yep.
We're facing him again today, so hopefully we can do a repeat of that.
Yep.
As that game is just kicking off, actually, as we continue this podcast. But they've been mauling teams. It's not just been the offense has been better. It's been exploding on teams, which is what's really exciting. And I tried having a look if anything markedly is different. And you know what? Not much has changed, really. Not much has changed that much. They're swinging a bit less. They're being a bit more selective. Mm-hmm. They're going to the opposite field a little bit more. But that's the only significant changes that I've noticed in the pre 6-game win streak and win streak to now numbers. That's kind of it. Yeah. In terms of process.
Yeah. And I think that the one big change that has, I don't know that it's single-handedly turned the team around, but it's definitely contributed is the return of Josh Lowe on the 15th of May. And the way that he has, we've said this before with guys like Brandon Lau when he was hurt and coming back, the lineup protection that he provides for other guys. And when you look at a lineup that he is in, I think, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but I think he was batting like 7th in the order in one game. And it just puts so much pressure on a pitching staff to know I don't get to let up. Because normally, you would think, well, if you get to the bottom of the lineup, you can kind of ease off the gas. No, you got to deal with Josh Lowe. When you get to the way that the Rays can set up a lineup and have legit threats for those first 6 when he's in the lineup, the way that this team is built right now, especially against right-handed pitching, is just so difficult to overcome for a starting pitcher or a reliever, to the point where since he has returned, Rays are sitting at a 127 WRC plus since his return, 3rd best in baseball. And just in general, they're sitting at a 4.3 F4, which is also 3rd best in baseball as a team for all their players offensively. So just playing at a really, really high level. And again, against, high level of competition. And it's been guys like Josh Lowe coming back, providing that level of, stability to the lineup and the idea that there's nowhere to hide your worst pitches in going through a lineup, because, even if they move like a Josh Lowe to the top of the lineup, which they have done a couple times, I think that's the lineup today is Josh Lowe, Belau, Yandy, I think is the starting 3 for today's, which I really like that. It's because it's allowing Yandy to switch up a little bit while he's been struggling. He started to see a little bit more success too. But if those guys move, then a Junior Caminero was lower, then a Jonathan Aranda is in the lineup somewhere, like Mangum, Meisner. There's just so many guys that can provide something offensively. There's nowhere to hide when you're trying to navigate a lineup, and we've seen it really get to starting pitching, and it's just been super fun to watch for the last couple of days. Even the game yesterday, it was close early. It was 3-3 early. Like, I kind of thought, man, I don't know if Littell has it today or not. Hope the offense can find a way to explode for 16 runs, which I did not expect ever. But that's what this team has been able to do recently. And it's what we said before the season started this team was capable of. We said, these are guys, we know there's a lot of question marks here, but when they're all firing on all cylinders, or just some of them are firing on all cylinders, because even if you look at last week's offensive performance, and there's a lot of guys that played really, really well, but there are still guys like Danny Jansen, Yandy, Meisner wasn't great last week. Meade was pretty good, but there's, not everybody's killing it the whole way through, this lineup, but there's enough guys that can do really good things and take us to the next level. Not the least of which is the franchise player, who we're going to talk about more later. I don't think we forgot about him in all this conversation. We're going to get to him soon enough. But it's just been one of the funnest 2-week periods of Rays baseball since 13-0. Really, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, I had a quick look. When was the last time the Rays won 6 in a row? They didn't do it last year.
No, it would have been. It had to have been sometime in 2020. Was it? It couldn't have been the start of the season.
It wasn't the 13-0.
Okay.
They had a 7-game win streak in June of 2023.
Okay, I'm like, surely not. Surely it's not all the way since then. Okay.
But that was the last time the Rays won 6 in a row. So, like I said, this was them getting out of first gear, which they were never able to do last year. And you can just see it in their at-bats that they're taking. Everyone on that team is feeling it. And the morale is super high. And confidence plays such a big role in a lineup doing well, where any of them can step up and know that they can either make a result or they can be selective, take their walk, pass it on to the next guy. And that's the confidence. Nobody's pressing right now because they know the next guy will just back him up. And that's what a good Rays team looks like. We're never going to be like the Yankees where we have an Aaron Judge to kind of build the rest of the lineup around.
We'll see.
But all the good Rays teams, like the 2021 Rays, the 2023 Rays, that are guys. The reason those teams were so good is because you had so many solid guys. 1 through 7. Right, 1 through 7 will give you you won't have an Aaron Judge, but you will have a guy that is hitting 270, 20 home runs every spot in the lineup. Right, you just don't get that better. And right now it feels a lot like that. Like Yandy will grind you an at bat. Bilal, Josh Lowe, Cami, Aranda will all give you a solid. Even Taylor Walls will grind you down. Yeah. So, and even Jansen does a bit of that. He has competitive ABs. So, you just don't get that bat off. And it felt like the Rays offense were underperforming that process in April. And now this is like what that process should be producing. Maybe slightly over. I doubt they'll be regularly putting up 13 or 16 runs like 3 times every 2 weeks. But this is kind of what you want from the Rays offense. And this is kind of what I hope this Rays offense would look like coming into the season. Loads of steady performances.
Yeah, and, like you said, not 13, 14, but if you can average 4 or 5 runs a game, the Rays pitching staff is more than good enough to win you that game 9 times out of 10. Like you said, over the last that kind of win streak, only gave up more than 5 runs. Didn't give up more than 5 runs once. You have to go back to the Marlins series, which is weird to lose that series. We've owned the Marlins for so long. That was a weird. And it was honestly, when we lost that Marlins series, in kind of weird, didn't look good at all fashion. I think Boz had a bad start. Just didn't look good at all. I was getting a little bit nervous that we were going to start to kind of go the wrong way, and then just flipped it right back around and went the other way, which was awesome. Since then, have not given up more than 4 runs once.
Right. And do you know how many times the Rays have scored 5 runs or more this season and lost?
Oh, gotta be like once or twice, not much.
Once. They had a walk-off loss to the Phillies.
Oh, yes.
They lost 7-6.
I do.
That's the only time they've scored 5 runs or more and lost a game.
That was the USADA blow-up, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the USADA blow-up.
But I think when they score 5, I think they're now 12-1 on the year when they score 5 or more. So, literally, if the Rays can average 4 or 5 runs a game, their team ERA is like 3.6. So, they're gonna do that work. Also, I need to address this because I've got the game on like a little screen at the side. Jeremy Pena's just hit a double.
What is his deal? Can he like what is going on? Do we just need to walk him? Here's what it is. A couple of years ago, there was, I think, Pena started over Wander for like the Dominican team or something. And everybody got mad, including me at the time. And everybody got really mad. And I think, I don't know, I think that sort of comparison between the two of them, because it was a natural comparison. They came up around the same time, Wander and he did. And I think everybody was like multiple times said that Wander's just better than him, blah, blah, blah. I think he took that really personally and just hates us now, even though, Wander's no longer on the team. He just takes it out on us every single time. But we need intentional walk. Like, I don't know. If there was runners on in scoring position, I would probably intentional walk him at this point. It's just not working out.
Yeah, looking at the replay, Caminero probably should have done a better job fielding that, actually. I think that's more on Caminero than it was on Pena. But anyway, I want to talk one honorable mention I want to give out as well, and this will segue us, I think, into the next thing we want to talk about, is Jose Caballero's really moved me this season.
Yeah.
He seems to have really improved at the plate. Like, he seems to be hitting the ball way harder now, which is great to see. And he's been unlucky. I think he's just missed out on like 3 home runs this week.
Yeah. There's several.
He hit one, but he could have hit like 3 more where they just like died just before going out. Or there was one that like hit the top of the wall.
Yeah.
So he's been great. And he's been playing more than Taylor Walls has over the past week.
He has. Last 2 weeks, I think he's been playing more.
Yeah. So you got to wonder the shortstop situation. Is Caballero taking over? Like, I can't believe this is a thing because I thought the Rays were absolutely stuck on Walls, but Caballero might be the starting shortstop now.
Well, and I think when, for a long time, I think the thought process was the difference in their offensive output was not different enough to warrant the difference in defense, which Walls was a little bit better. And that little bit better actually matters at shortstop because, one or two misplays here or there can be a big deal, especially with a team that at the time wasn't scoring much and you needed to rely on defense. But if now Cabby is like significantly better than Walls and like actually a positive for the offense, it becomes much more difficult. Especially with I don't want to say specter of Ha-Seong Kim because that sounds negative, but the reality that Ha-Seong Kim is taking at bats in Durham and looks pretty good and will eventually is going to start playing second base this week. I don't know if that's where you were going next or not, but that's but Ha-Seong Kim is playing in Durham. Will start games at second base soon. We'll probably get a couple of games there, and they'll transition him to shortstop. And once he's back up, you got to think that it's a conversation about Walls or Cabby. So the question becomes, because here's the thing, Walls has options. So you could send Walls back down to the minors if you wanted to. Because what I think they might do is send Walls back down to the minors, keep Cabby up, let Cabby continue to do what he's doing and flip him for something they need at the deadline. Because I love having Cabby, but if Ha-Seong Kim is your guy for the rest of this year, and we all know Carson Williams is going to be the guy long-term for the Rays at shortstop, you could get some value from a plus defense and this season at least plus offense and always plus base running shortstop. He suddenly has a lot of value. And so the Rays could very easily send Walls back down, let Cabby continue to accrue value, and flip him for something they need. I'm not sure what yet at the deadline, or just keep him.
Yeah.
And then, if somebody gets hurt, bring Walls up.
Caballero is, if he's a trade piece, he is like we know we're making the playoffs, but we need a guy that's going to play good defense in a bunch of places and pinch run guy, which every playoff team needs, right?
Correct.
And that's we might be a playoff team. But but we also, I feel like we got a few guys that could be that.
Yes. Well, because Walls can do that. Walls could do that.
Simpson can be our runner.
Yeah.
And we're not short on infielders.
Yeah. So the question would be, and this is a conversation for later because I haven't really had time to look. At least I haven't had time to really look into this and really kind of nail down what they could do. I don't really know where the Rays need to add if they're moving on from somebody, because the lineup is like you have to. We just talked about this with Chandler, and we're talking about it kind of still now. You have too many guys. I don't need any more depth on the offense. So the question would be, I don't think you need any depth in the starting pitching. The bullpen has been good. Is there maybe a conversation about, I hate trading for bullpen arms because they're so like, I don't like it. So it really leaves me like, well, what do the Rays need? The only other thing would be
if a good catcher is available.
Well, yeah. If the Orioles just want to punt on Adley Rutschman, sure, let's do it.
Yeah. Right.
Not that they absolutely do not need Cabby, but it's like that would never happen in a million years. There's somebody else we were talking about. We were talking about, I think, on the Rays group chat, Harry Ford. We were chatting about him a little bit from Seattle. Just trade him back to Seattle.
I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any good rental catches on the market that could be worth looking at. I'm going to have a quick look at like expiring free agent catches, because that's the only thing that would make me consider it. But while I'm Googling,
while I'm doing that, I'll give a couple injury updates while you're doing that. A couple more things here and there. Shane McClanahan is supposed to be doing a bullpen later in the end of this week. Hope to then, if that works out, start to slowly move him up. The date that Neander came out and said publicly yesterday was end of July, beginning of August, which, I think we kind of started to see the writing on the wall for that. It is what it is. He becomes a great free agent or a great trade deadline acquisition, really. It's what he's going to end up being for the Rays. So that's going on there. We mentioned Ha-Sung Kim. Jake Mangum, we kind of mentioned it in passing, but he's back from injury. He's back at the Major League Club. Johnny DeLuca had a setback in his rehab, and so he's still kind of pushed out a little bit. That's another weird conversation when he gets back to being healthy, because I'm afraid that Meisner and Mangum have like combined to take his job a little bit. We'll see. There's a conversation to be had when he gets back to being healthy. And Kevin Kelly is the other big guy that's come back to the Major League Club, finishing up his rehab assignment. Got his first outing. I think last night or the night before was his first outing. I think it was the night before was his first outing back with the team. It was the night before because he gave up. Well, he didn't give it up. He gave up a ground ball that Meade botched and then gave up a run. But good to have Kevin Kelly back, despite the sort of suboptimal first outing for him, which was weird because they brought him in, and then they brought him in after Pepio went 6 2/3. He finished the 7th, and they brought him back out for the 8th, which I thought was a little weird because you had a lot of your entire bullpen was kind of available at that point. So I don't really know why they did that, but anyway, Kevin Kelly's back. So lots of good things on the injury front. The only kind of negative right now is DeLuca. But we are not in desperate need of a defense first center fielder at this time.
No, not much in the way of catches kicking about.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Probably not.
Nothing more than the usual suspects like Martin Maldonado and those kind of guys. So no one. So you'd have to like go big if you went to go get someone like Adley. But again, they're not. Imagine if they did, though.
That'd be crazy. I don't know what's going on with the Orioles. Orioles are a mess. They just continue to be a mess. They got somebody like Colby. It was Colby Mayo shoving people. White Sox and Orioles, tough scenes first of all. But then they got Jabrol. Just that's tough. That's tough.
You hate to see it. You love to see it.
You absolutely love to
Orioles.
See it. You love to see it. It's just it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, it's a battle of who wants it less. Not that.
Yeah. Speaking of the opposite of that, guys who want it more and have been excellent, Bat and Arm of the Week, close it out for us. And we've got some very fun people to talk about Bat of the Arm and Bat and Arm of the Week. We're going to start it out with Bat because there is no suspense to be had here. Junior Caminero. Dude was absolutely electric this last week. He has been, the other guy, in addition to Josh Lowe coming back and being great, the other guy that's been really contributing. I don't know what his personal hitting coach said to him, but that guy needs a contract immediately. He needs to be in the dugout, like immediately, because Junior Caminero over this last week hit to a crisp 312 WRC plus, put up almost a full win above replacement over the last week in F4. 5 bombs, 17 RBIs. An ISO of 618, OPS of like 1,400 something. I mean, is there anybody hotter right now than Junior Caminero?
Video game numbers.
Video
game numbers. The hitting coach turned up to Caminero and said, "Listen, hit more home runs, dummy. Stop grounding into double plays." And Caminero was like, "Oh, yeah,
man."
He is hitting more balls in the air.
Just a few.
Yeah, and he seems to be cheating to balls a little bit more. Like he's been a bit more aggressive. He's like, his first home run yesterday was a good example of that. He was kind of cheating to. In fact, I think it was not yesterday. It was in the first game of the series where he kind of just poked one out to the Crawford boxes.
Yeah.
He got way under it, but he was like, I've got enough muscle and enough power on my swing that if I get way under it and pull it and just get out in front of it, that'll be enough. Yeah,
and he kind of did that into the opposite field yesterday, where he just kind of poked one over the left field fence. Just kind of got to it and poked it over the left field fence at a 104 exit velo or something crazy.
Right. He doesn't need to barrel it. Yeah. He doesn't need to get perfect contact in order to muscle it out.
Yeah.
So I think if I was this hitting coach, I would say, don't worry about the perfect contact. I just worry about getting it in the air.
Yeah. Which I am still waiting for I'm trying to think of who would be the lefty starter that could throw like a fastball. It just misses location right down the middle and just see Caminero barrel one. I just want that so badly. I'm not sure who that starter is or what that matchup is.
Ryan Yarbrough is on the Yankees right now.
Well, I don't think Ryan Yarbrough can throw it fast enough to get the like massive like 480 home run or something. He could certainly like roll one into the center of the zone, as we Rays fans know well enough. But I don't know that he could get enough. I don't know if he could get enough on it to get it across the zone. The Yankees got their own problems to deal with, getting dog walked by the Dodgers, and it was billed as the series of the century or whatever. They're just absolute getting demolished, which has been.
I had a great time
for me. It was a great hate watch last night after the Rays. It was pure cinema baseball last night. It was excellent. Speaking of pure cinema, arm of the week. And I'm going to let Pat go first because there's two amazing options. And Pat, who is your arm of the week?
So while I don't think this was necessarily the best pitching performance of the week, we have to give him an honorable arm of the week, and that is Zach Littell. Zach Littell has made Rays history yesterday, throwing a complete game. I can't believe it happened. Mm-hmm. The first complete game since 2021. That was the big news story. And I remember on the broadcast, it was like the top of the ninth, and Littell had pitched 8 innings, and they showed the bullpen. He went a shot on the bullpen with no one warming up, and we were all like, as a Rays fan, we were like, they're gonna let him. This crazy guy, Kevin Cash, is gonna let him. Like Kevin Cash is falling asleep or something, and he's not warmed up the bullpen. And I think what was more impressive than the complete game was how many pitches they let him throw.
Yeah.
117 pitches. Now, this is my little stat blast for you, because we all know this was the third complete game in the Kevin Cash era. Mm-hmm. Only the Ryan Yarbrough one and Matt Andriese in 2016, which was the last complete game shutout.
Yes,
which was 9 years ago. Now, the funnest stat was BA was talking about this at the end of the broadcast. He said, "Gosh, when was the last time someone threw 117 pitches in a Rays game?" Now, it's not common. The Rays. In fact, I'm going to let you guess. I'm not going to give you something too hard. But I'm going to ask you, how many times in the Kevin Cash era, so since 2015, has a Rays pitcher threw 117 or more pitches in a game?
Including Littell's start.
Including Littell.
I'm going to say I have like this like inkling in the back of my mind that it's more than I think, so I'm going to say 4.
Slightly more than that. It's
Really?
it's seven
Okay.
times.
So I was right. It was more than I thought, but it was even more than I thought.
However, 2 of them happened in 2015. 3 of them happened in 2016. 1 happened in 2017, and then 2025. So, yeah, in the Kevin Cash era, it's only happened 7 times, and 6 of those times were before this current window opened.
Right.
Yeah. So the last time it happened, this is crazy, by the way. The last time this happened was in 2017. It was Jake Odorizzi.
I was gonna say it was just like it's got to be guys like Odorizzi and I'm sure Andres did it maybe once or twice. Like, yeah, it's got to be those guys.
Andres never did it, even in his complete game shutty. Never did it.
Wow.
In fact, none of these performances except Littell's finished the 8th inning.
Really?
Yeah, none of these are complete games. So Odorizzi was the last one to do it, and he threw, you won't believe this, 5 2/3 innings.
I was gonna say, I'm sure it was like 6 innings or some nonsense from him.
5 2/3 innings through 118 pitches. He only gave up 2 runs. And gave up 7 hits in ultimately what would be a loss to the Minnesota Twins. That was the last time it happened. The most pitches thrown under Kevin Cash, there's a tie, and that's 122.
122 pitches.
Yeah. Do you have if you win a prize if you can get either of the people that threw it?
2 people did it, and this would have been 2015 and 2016.
Yep.
Oh man. I don't know. I don't know who would have thrown that many pitches.
So one person is someone that you'll be kicking yourself about, and that was Chris Archer.
Oh.
Chris Archer did it in 2015. He threw 6 2. It took him 122 pitches to get through 6 2/3. Shutout, only 3 hits allowed. So what was going on there?
What was going on is what always went on when Chris Archer pitched was that he threw 1 million pitches to get anybody out. Took him like 7 pitches to get everybody out.
And that what's crazy is he threw 6 2/3 shutout innings. The Rays lost that game 7-5.
That's not shocking at all. That's the least shocking thing you could have possibly told me.
That was the 2015 Rays. That was in July
the
against
least
the
shocking
Yankees.
thing.
We got walked off in the 12th.
Incredible.
And the other person that did that was Drew Smiley.
Drew Smiley, okay.
Yeah, he threw 122 pitches, and that was in. He gave up. He went 6 2/3 as well. He gave up 6 runs, only 4 of them earned, in a 10-2 loss to the Tigers in 2016.
So is this the first time in the Kevin Cash era that someone has thrown that many pitches and won the game?
No. Close though. Nate Carnes threw 117 pitches in 2015. He ended up throwing 7 innings of 2-run ball in what would be an 8-2 win against the Texas Rangers. And Jake Odorizzi threw 120 pitches in a 4-2 win over the Twins, where he went 6 innings, 2 earned.
Okay.
So this is the 3rd win of someone throwing that many pitches. But yeah, 7 times in 10 years. Well, 10 and a bit now.
Yeah.
And this is the first time someone's managed to throw that much and finish the game. In the Kevin Cash era.
Legendary performance.
I mean, James, if we go before the Kevin Cash era, then we get into James Shields territory, and that's
I was gonna say it's very important that we cut it off before the James Shields era, because I think there's a lot more going on if we go
yeah, and also like Kevin Cash is notorious for pulling pitches, right? That's why I thought it was a good measuring stick.
It is a good measuring stick.
So what's crazy is someone's thrown 117 pitches, more than twice as much someone's actually finished a game under Kevin Cash.
It's nuts.
So yeah, but he hasn't let anyone throw that many pitches before Littell in 7 years. So
Well, Littell's been there's been a couple of times in the last year or so that I think Littell specifically has been close. He's gotten to the 8th or gotten through most of the 7th, and we've kind of been oh, is this going to be the one? So I'm not surprised that it was finally Littell, the one who did it. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was the most exciting thing. As much as fun as the offense was, I loved seeing the complete game. That was super fun.
Yeah. Who's your arm of the week then? If it's not
as much as I loved the performance that Littell put up, and as great as that was, I feel like we would be doing a disservice to the prestigious award that is arm of the week if we passed over somebody who pitched 13 2/3 innings and gave up 0 runs. That's Ryan Pepio. He gets only 1 win because of some shenanigans in the Framber Valdez game. I don't know if there's any way to find this stat. Total side note. When's the last time 2 pitchers pitched complete games in the same series for opposing teams? I don't know how you would find that statistic. And it's probably impossible to find. That might be able to crazy. Find that. So while you're doing that, Ryan Pepio. No runs given up over 2 great starts. He's a guy that we have talked about this. We talked about it. I think maybe in the last arm I gave out was to Ryan Pepio, I think. And when I gave it out, I said we need more of this, and he has done that. He has been electric. I thoroughly enjoyed the game that we won 13-0 that I was in attendance for last Sunday, where he went 7 shutty. Was a phenomenal performance from him there. And then just to back that up with another great performance. This is what we expected from him beginning the season. He's had a bit of a rough start to the year and is now starting to turn it around. We need more of this stuff. It's been really good to see, him not giving up home runs. That's kind of the thing that we have, it's been the biggest concern when you got guys with big stuff and big fastballs, they give up home runs. Not giving up home runs. Would like to see his ground ball rate come up a little bit more. But the other thing I really like to see is the walks going down over this last week. We need more of that from him. If he can keep the walks down and keep the ball in the yard, he's going to continue to put out great performances like this. Ryan Pepio is the arm of the week for me.
Yeah, he's been incredible. Okay, so I'm looking for streaks of complete games in baseball history.
Yeah.
So this might take a minute because there used to be a time when that happened a lot.
Right. But it's probably as much as we make fun of Kevin Cash for not letting guys go longer, that's also been a shift in baseball in general, that the guys aren't going as far in games. So that's just kind of is what it is. Maybe we can make that a statistic we bring to next week's episode. We can bring it up if we find it. People can let us know in the comments if they find it first, and let us know who the last 2 were, which would be awesome. And if while you're leaving that comment, telling us when was the last time 2 complete games happened by opposing pitchers in the same series, you can also do us a huge favor and subscribe or like any of us on any of the platforms that you watch us on. We'd really appreciate it. We hope you have enjoyed the show. We hope you've enjoyed us all season long. The Rays are, doing what we said that we hope they could do. And we hope that we are doing what we said we would do every week, which is bring you guys the best Rays podcast out there. We appreciate everybody who's watching with us and sticking with us all season long. It's only going to get more fun from here. As these guys continue to turn it on, it's giving me so much excitement for the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait to continue watching the Rays. Hopefully, streak their way through. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Rays up.
Rays up.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.